Hey guys, Jordan West, e-commerce entrepreneur here. Today I had the chance to chat with Cameret Bannister from Janji. We talked about how they built a community where people actually pay to be in the community and how the average order value and lifetime value of these customers is absolutely astounding. Not only that, they're doing incredible things for the world with their core values in mind. So I think you guys are going to get a ton out of this one. Today's video is brought to you by Mindful Marketing. They use ads to get you off using ads. Most e-commerce brands rely heavily on Facebook and Google ads for the majority of their revenue. At Mindful Marketing, they use paid ads to build you a community of loyal and repeat customers that will exist long after Facebook and Google. So go to mindfulmarketing.co to find out more. Now on to today's episode. I have Camaret Bannister here. Did I say that correctly?
You sure did. Doesn't happen often.
Having like a soft T wasn't that difficult for a Canadian, like whose kids are in French immersion, and my wife and I are now getting back into learning French again because of our kids being in it. So yeah. Anyway, enough about my learning French. Camaret, welcome to Secrets to Scaling Your E-commerce Brand. For people who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the director of digital marketing at Janji. Janji is a running apparel brand focused on exploring, connecting, and giving back through clean water. So clean water is part of our mission. We donate 2% of our top sales back to clean water. And a little bit about like my background and my trajectory. I was in the tech world for a while in a typical demand generation software as a service company. Got my hands dirty there, decided that the tech world wasn't for me, and actually did a little bit of traveling in the digital nomad world, and was starting like a freelance consulting paid media business, so running largely Facebook and Google ads, and then came back to the United States and decided I wanted to go a little bit more in depth on one brand, and had been a runner in the past, had actually heard of Janji through a marathon expo where I met one of the co-founders, connected with them when I came back, and it was a really great fit for us both, and at the state of the company and what we were both looking for at the time to really help to grow the brand. So I've kind of run a whole bunch of roles within Janji and have, started in the community side of things, then ended up taking over our digital, like our paid media ads, and then now I'm more focused more holistically on digital media, but I've certainly gained a lot of appreciation for the whole marketing funnel there, and seen a lot of what's worked and what hasn't.
Cool. What I'm really looking forward to talking to you, there's a few things I really want to talk to you about today. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is the community building aspect of what you guys have done. Can you explain to me, because it's different than what we've ever talked about on this podcast before. Explain to me how your community works, and just walk me all the way through it. I may interrupt you at points. If you've listened to this podcast, I'm an interrupter. So
totally fair.
I'm
a rambler, so feel free to interrupt wherever you see fit. So I love talking about our community. It's kind of where I started with the brand, and feels like a little bit of a baby to me. So our community is called Janji Collective. The way that it works is we have a $50 one-time donation. So we take that $50, we donate it entirely to clean water, and within that you get priority access to new products. You get a 15% off lifetime discount. You get exclusive prints, products for Janji Collective members only. We have a community group where people can connect and sort of gain tips in running and trail running from each other. And it's really unique because, in talking about Janji, we talk a lot about running, we talk a lot about exploring, we talk about clean water. There's a lot of things that kind of go into the brand. And the community program is actually a pretty good example of all of the above in my mind. In terms of donating the $50 to clean water, we are automatically attracting a person who kind of cares about where they're spending their dollars. We focus a lot on the quality of our gear and people being on their feet for long periods of time. So we look to our community for feedback on that, and We really, pride ourselves in the transparency and, use of the community beyond just solely a sales funnel. So there's a lot that goes into it, but we are over 3,000 members right now and are looking to scale that for the next couple of years.
So first of all, 3,000 members at $50 a piece, you guys have donated $150,000. That's incredible, just right there. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Some other incredible things about this are what I'm thinking of is these people that are in your community are really bought in, right? Like they've made this like micro commitment. I wouldn't even say a micro commitment of spending, donating that $50. Like they're like, that's a commitment, right? That they now feel for your brand and as well for the mission in general. I'm surprised that you have 3,000 people in there. Like those are like you were like 3,000 like hottest customers.
Exactly. I mean, it's certainly grown a lot even over the past year or two, but I think we kind of, when we founded the program, so, Janji as a company is 8 years old, and the Janji Collective was actually only founded in 2017 or 2018. So I think at that point in time, we kind of figured we'd capture like a lot of the people who had been Janji fanboys or fangirls from the start. And we did, certainly, but even since that, with new customers coming into the brand over the past couple of years, who are less familiar, we've still been able to kind of get them into the program and, invite them and to join us beyond the simple purchase of apparel.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hey, I'd love to talk a little bit about your digital marketing and how you guys get people into your funnel. In the conversation that you had with Silas, who runs our podcast, all the behind the scenes sort of stuff, you had talked about Instagram stories being a huge part of your marketing mix. Can you talk to me about that? Like how you do that, why that actually works? Because I think a lot of people really discount stories, right? They just add it as another placement when they're doing their digital ads and don't really focus on that. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, I told Silas this, like, as we are creating this community program, it means that we can focus less on our existing customer base because we kind of, we know people are going to come back. We feel like we have a pretty strong sense of that returning customer, but in terms of reaching new customers and really focusing on prospecting, Instagram stories has been a huge tool for us over the last year. I mean, obviously 2020 has been a crazy year generally, and we saw a boom in the running sphere, but that was kind of amplified by the fact that we were able to create some really incredible Instagram story creative to prospect to new customers. So it's also.
And are you running?
Yeah,
are you running these as like single ads, or are you doing the little carousel trick, like where you can get up to 45 seconds?
No, we a little bit of both. So we're actually focusing a lot on videos, and in my mind, I think like when you look at running apparel and when you look at the best way that running apparel can be displayed, it's in motion and it's like a full body shot, and that lends itself really well to the 1920 1080 form vertical the story format. So it's been a way for us to show the product in motion, which therefore helps to kind of like show the fabrics and the movement behind the fabrics, which is really important when you're running. Show it with a little bit of sweat on it, which is awesome because obviously you're sweating out there, and really kind of go through features of the product as well as the social proof behind it, and include like multiple customer reviews that are within the video and give that
how are you putting those customer reviews in?
Kind of just like one by one, where we have a slide where the background is the product, like our middle short, and a man running in it, and then overlay that with 5 customer quotes that kind of like pop in really quick snippets of 5 to 7 words about how awesome the shorts are, and really giving the social proof behind it there.
Are you seeing those ads actually be profitable on the first touch, or are those just really good ways to get people into the funnel?
Yeah, absolutely. First touch. We kind of are in the place where we're measuring almost everything on our prospecting campaigns in the first touch.
Oh, really? Are you like so I'm assuming like the new attribution settings with Facebook probably didn't mess that up too much for you then, hey?
I mean, it got us to adjust to a new normal, right? Like, I think we were used to looking at a 28-day view, a 28-day click, 1-day view, and then just going back and level setting based on like what would that have been on a 7-day click, and you can kind of extrapolate that out to say, okay, well, we don't think that anything has drastically changed in terms of performance. We're probably like on a 28-day view would see the similar performance. But it's also just gotten us, to focus in on a little bit of more of like the concrete metrics that aren't the vanity metrics of a 1-day view for our retargeting audience. We're pretty much removing like any existing customers from our paid social ads because that 1-day view on our retargeting like existing customer base was just inflating our ROAS like crazy. So really focusing on new customer acquisition there through the Instagram story format. Obviously we have other placements too, and kind of let the algorithm choose where it wants to put the dollars, but have seen a lot of success just based on kind of like the physical elements of the vertical video and seeing people running that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's wonderful. Can you talk to me what else is working for you guys right now? We're in early March of 2021. What's working as far other sort of customer acquisition channels for you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, as a brand and as like me as a person in terms of scaling a bunch of different digital media company or, budgets and looking at new customer acquisition growth, we really try to reserve 15 to 20% of our budget on a monthly basis to test totally new channels. So that's,
love it.
The traditional media channels like, Snapchat, YouTube. We haven't gotten into TikTok yet. But we also are experimenting with a lot of podcasts, a lot of newsletters, doing research just based on, the outdoor industry, the running industry, and what are some of the already established community groups out there that we could be reaching with Janji information and brand awareness. So
going like old school, like to magazines, is that something you've been looking at?
Yeah, we did a print ad in Trail Runner magazine in December for the holidays. So that's, we kind of combined that with some digital elements too, of like an online article, and most magazines also have the digital portion. So
of course,
I mean, it's been really interesting to kind of just always be thinking about that new channel to test out and what could actually be something that's like growable and scalable and become part of our yearly budget.
Totally. I still think that there is a place for print out there, especially for people who are really hardcore into, into whatever niche they're in. There's still going to be those print magazines, right? People still want that. They don't want just purely digital. So it'll be interesting from a publisher standpoint. And we're actually acquiring a couple of magazines right now
cool.
in the outdoor space. That's why I ask. I'm like, I wonder if people are still, and we're not counting on that revenue whatsoever, but it's an interesting, it's really interesting to see what other marketers are doing.
It's really interesting. Back in the fall, we tested out like a simple postcard mailer to invite people to join Janji Collective, kind of bringing this back full circle. So like prospecting with that mailer. When we were looking at the results initially, it was like, we didn't really see an uplift in people who were joining the program. And it's been on my radar because just in kind of running back through the numbers in the last couple of months, like we've seen more trickle through, and I almost feel like it is, part of someone's journey, and maybe they're not going to get a postcard and then join the next day, but they're going to be like, oh, now I know what Janji Collective is. Next time I go to make a Janji purchase, I'll add it into the cart. So I got to like dig into the numbers to figure out exactly what impact it had. But right off the bat, we didn't see much results, but we definitely have seen more trickle throughout Q1 of 2021.
Interesting. I like that. I've got to ask you the question that I ask everybody who comes on this podcast. What is your secret to scaling?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I feel like I kind of already noted this, but as a marketer and as someone who has, experimented with a lot of different channels and testing and learning and all that, I really do think that the most powerful thing you can do is reserve 15 to 20% of your budget for testing a new channel. It makes it so that it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to ruin your whole company. It's not going to destroy your marketing strategy, but it's going to give you so many like unique insights that you can take into the next time you're allocating budget and next time you're like looking at where you can get new customers from. So that's just something that like, it also forces you to think beyond what's currently working well and rely less on the Facebooks and Googles of the world, because as we realize they're more volatile than we expect. It's definitely important.
I feel like going through this last year, it has just been such a roller coaster on both of those platforms, right?
Right.
Like just absolutely terrible in some ways. Like October in the States was just like, oh, why would we even put money into Google or into Facebook right now? Like there's just no point in putting money into Facebook with all of that election spending. And it was just, it was horrible.
Yeah, like then you think about like the April-May timeline. I mean, especially for a small business in the running world, like our biggest issue is like, do we have the inventory to sustain what we can do in volume right now? Because like the CPMs were so low, everyone was.
It was incredible.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great problem to have, but you're right. In terms of volatility, 2020 was quite a roller coaster.
Yes. In all of our clients' businesses and the businesses we own, we're seeing 2021 just skyrocket as well. Like, I don't know when this is going to stop. I hope never.
Yeah.
But we've got to be prepared. We're going to move on to our lightning round here.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I hope so.
I hope so too. What is your favorite tool or app that you're using right now?
I'm going to cheat right off the bat and do two because why not? There's no rules here. Favorite tool I think that we've introduced in the last year is loop returns. We had a manual return process before and we implemented loop returns, which is an online portal. It's made it so much easier for our customers to return things and exchange things and get the right size or pattern or fit that they want, which ultimately leads to a happy customer. And then on the flip side, like quick implementation app that anyone could download today, my favorite Google Chrome extension is Keywords Everywhere.
Oh, I love Keywords Everywhere. Yeah. Been using that for years. Yeah.
Exactly. I have too. And
I don't even want to tell people. I'm cutting this out of here. I'm cutting this out. I don't want anyone else to know about Keywords Everywhere.
Seriously though, like I've used it for the last like decade or so, and just this simple little tool that tells you like, predictive volume, like monthly volume, CPC, other like related keywords. If you add it
on every single platform you can think of too. Yeah. Like it'll like if you're on Chrome and you go into, I think it even works on Amazon too, doesn't it?
Oh really? Yeah,
I think it does. Yeah. I use it for YouTube all the time. For when we're doing some keyword research, right? It's just like immediately you can see. They also reveal all the tags from the top videos in Keywords Everywhere. Yeah. It's just like it's awesome. It's incredible. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like whenever I'm sharing my screen in a meeting and searching for something and that pops up, everyone's like, "What is this like wizard tool that you have here?" I'm like, "It's Keywords Everywhere. You gotta add it."
And it's so cheap too. Like it was free for years and years, and even now I think I've spent like $10 using it in the last year. It's a great extension. Okay, that was a good one. Favorite podcast or audiobook that you're listening to?
Do a lot of podcast listening, but more like on the fun side for a little bit of a mental break.
That's okay. You can say those.
Like the most impactful book that I've read in the last couple of years is Word Slut. And it's a feminist guide to taking back the English language, and it's really interesting for everyone, not just females. But it goes into like the etymology of words and how they developed over time, and how you can kind of like reclaim certain words and create more positive connotations with them, and it's totally impacted the way that I speak. So that's definitely the one that I think.
Interesting. I've never heard that book before. Okay, cool, nice. We'll make sure to put that in the show notes as well. Last question for you: if you could sit down with anybody for an hour, have some coffee, tea, beer, wine, who would it be? They have to be alive.
Okay. Gosh, I feel like every time this question is asked, I give a different answer. So. Me and all my friends will go to a dinner party someday. Probably Phoebe Waller-Bridges.
Okay, who's that?
She's a British producer, actress. She's in the show Fleabag, which is phenomenal. And she just like has an incredible mind that, she can do no wrong in my mind. She like has created some incredible stories about different like her characters that she creates and writes. So I think that kind of picking her mind on like, story narratives and ironing out some of the other details and how, Janji talks through marketing and our campaigns and our narratives would be really, really interesting.
Cool. That's great. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. This was absolutely wonderful. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, I mean, probably LinkedIn is the best place to connect. I'm happy to, chat with people on LinkedIn or take it offline, as they say. And then otherwise in Janji, if you head to the Janji Instagram, pretty much the whole Janji team is obviously checking our DMs often. So feel free to shoot a note there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, and have a great day.
Yeah, you as well.
Wait! Before you go, in the description, we've got some incredible e-commerce only resources for you to help scale your store from wherever you are into the mid 7-figure, 8-figure, maybe even mid 8-figure range this year. So look in the description below for some incredible free resources that we've given to you guys, and we really want to see you guys succeed.